something we want to take note of and praise, because that's the thing, when you load on the Rift, if you've made your team's job significantly easier, going to give them a lot more power. Now, starting off with the draft, immediately getting the Yone ban coming out, and I feel like bans have gotten a bit more normalized. We see some variations, so teams are willing to let through specific picks, but, you know, Taliyah getting banned very frequently now. Vi, Kalista, Varus, very popular bans. Then normally we see a sprinkling off the top laner ban pool, things like the Gwen.
Sion even going to be banned here, so will be interesting to see what does happen. I think that does raise the stonks of something like a Jace, because Sion has picked many times in the Jace just for a neutralizer, but interesting to see it banned from the red side.
Yep. They end up banning the Gwen as well. Yeah. So
yeah.
Varus, I mean, again, we've seen Varus's win rate recently not do so hot, but Varus, Kalista still open and available. Xin Zhao still open and available, which we've seen banned a decent amount more recently. Azir still open and available, and with Taliyah gone and Yone gone, that could be pretty high priority. But instead, opting to go for... No, not looking at the Rumble. I think it depends how confident you are in clear, because, you know, we've seen Rumbles do okay in a Jace. Even though Jace is favored in most matchups, we've seen Rumbles able to handle the matchup. Kingen might just lean on the Rumble himself. He's been so good on the pick. And if you're happy playing Jace into the Rumble in reverse, then I think the Azir pickup, especially with the Yone and the Taliyah, the standard response is gone. Gives a lot of value. It looks like Kingen leaning towards that Jace and will secure that.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the Sion ban, so I kind of thought he would be leaning towards it. It's just interesting to see that they prioritized the Azir, as you were mentioning, with those two bans in mid taken away over the top lane or anything else. We're not going to see a Nunu. We almost definitely could see a Pantheon. Has been prioritized by a lot of teams, even ahead of Xin Zhao nowadays.
Yeah, so I think Pantheon set pickup makes complete sense here. I think BNK FEARX, you probably just go Rumbles and Zhao in this situation in terms of like the tier list picks that are left available. Could see them going a bit of a different direction, but it looks like the Rumble definitely going to lock that one in. I think especially given that, you know, if you do end up in a situation where you win this game one and NONGSHIM end up on blue side, they could prioritize that Rumble themselves in the next game. If you leave it open, they will take that one. One of the more contentious matchups in top, but I do give the edge to Jace in the early game for sure.
Yeah. Clears Rumble. Always love to see it. Xin Zhao coming out here. Does feel like if you look at this first three, you're really loving your draft already from BNK, but same can be said for NONGSHIM. You know, Jace and Pantheon oftentimes very highly prioritized. Alongside of the Ahri, which Ahri Pantheon definitely going to be making some plays, but you are going into Xin Zhao, so it'll be interesting to see how that 2v2 works out.
This just feels like a very tierless draft. Just like, what are the best picks open available? We're locking them in, we're securing them. That's not necessarily a bad thing, by all means. Like, you know, these are strong picks in the meta for a reason, but this is kind of what you expect from a game one draft when everything's open and available. Start to see the bans coming in. The Xayah taken out. I wonder if we get an Ezreal ban as well here. It makes sense. Often when you're trying to be aggressive on the enemy AD carry, punish them, which makes sense playing into Diablo, you ban Xayah, Ezreal as those safe picks you can lean on. Elise comes out as a denial from the hands. I feel like the second rotation Elise ban, probably one of the most common things we've seen against NONGSHIM. I swear, every game they respect that. They take it away from him. Yeah,
absolutely. We have seen some Shen bans from time to time. But yeah, Elise is a lot more common. There's that Ezreal ban you were talking about. No Xayah, no Ezreal. A lack of safety potentially for Diablo in this game.
Yeah, obviously you can lean towards some longer range picks, but that doesn't necessarily guarantee your safety. It just means you can play from a bit further away. But a lot of those longer range picks are pretty immobile. Now, deciding what they want to do here, we often see the Alice. I was going to say, we see the Alistair come through on R4 after the ban, so I think it makes sense to take that one away. They end up going for this Kalista. So, one in that early prior, one in that early power, and with counter pick, this puts BNK in a really comfortable position. I think they have to take Nico here, because, yeah, it looks like they might go for the Kai'Sa Nico, because if you give Nico over, it means that basically if you pick another engaged support, like, I don't know, a Rel, and you play in a Kai'Sa Renata, you're cooked. It's really rough to play. Whereas if you go Nico, even if Renata's taken, you're feeling pretty okay about that. So, you know, they could still just go the Renata. I think it's still fine, even though the Nico does make the matchup more stable. But instead, they're looking for the Shen. So I think this is a pretty smart call. The expectation is I think a lot of teams would just lock Renata anyway. But the Shen here gives you that roaming potential. You have double globals between jungle and support. This is a signature pick for...
There are so many global threats. We are ready for game number 1. Let's hop into it right now.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
All right.
Here's the one thing that's giving me a little bit of
Yes.
concern. We saw some stats on the pre-show of teams' gold leads at different stages of the game.
Uh-huh.
And there was a team who were pretty low down in terms of their gold leads early on.
Uh-huh.
Oh no.
Well, that's cleanse, and the charm comes out as well, but the cleanse does help with that.
A lot of patience not to flash there, I feel like, from Diablo. It's still a good resource burned by NONGSHIM, but definitely could have been worse. Did lose a bit of HP though and doesn't have time to reset.
Lehens is also taking...
Yeah, he's HP is a resource, and he's using a lot of it. But now, Diablo has to walk around. They're just not letting him come through. I think if he just walked around already, would have been there, but I guess he's thinking eventually they have to go to lane. Does wait it out, is patient, but this does give G1 Lehens first access to the wave to shove it in. But, sorry, the point I was making before, so we saw in the pre-show talking about gold leads at different points of the game. NONGSHIM very low down. I think they're actually at the bottom, the early leads. This is a comp that kind of needs a lead, right? Jace, Ahri, and Kalista are all picks that really want to be ahead. You don't want to play Jace or Kalista in particular from behind. And yes, they have tools to facilitate that, but I feel like this is going to be a volatile one.
Yeah, definitely should be. We do see that level 2 is going to be hit here by Lehens and G, who got to the lane first. And Lehens, you know, he uses his pots, and he does hit full health once again. Basically, they're looking for a dive, actually, to flash on in. There's no cleanse, and they might just get this kill. There it is, first blood. It does go over to the support, but they deny a massive wave in the bottom side.
A ton of XP denied away from Diablo here. And this is kind of what we saw a lot with, like, Kalista Renata, especially when it was into, like, Lucian Nami, where you go for that early dive. Even if you traded down, even if someone died, it's fine because you denied so much. But a big hit, and I think Diablo, it was pretty telegraphed. Maybe he was worried that like Lehens would be able to match his flash with his, but I think he could have outplayed that. I think there was more window to outplay. It does save his flash in this situation, but this is showing the cost of that cleanse being burned. Because not only can you cleanse the CC, but also the ignite damage as well, which really limits the ability to go for that dive. So Lehens doing a good job to capitalize early on.
Yeah, he's leading the way, and that's what you would expect out of a guy like Lehens. And all eyes right now are on this bottom lane because of those burn summoners, including Lehens's. So we'll see if Raptor does want to pay a visit here. There's a nicely... Oh, I thought he put a ward. He actually didn't, but Lehens just kind of personally warding with his body.
Honestly, I think one of the most OP things you can do in League of Legends is you walk towards a brush that you typically want to ward, and you just don't ward it.
Yeah.
You know, and just mind game the opponents.
Very tricky. So he just steps up and has to flash now. And they're not really going to get too much, especially because the root doesn't connect. A lot of damage does come in. I suppose you could call it a tempo flash. But who are we kidding? That's a massive cooldown taken away from Diablo.
That's the thing that's kind of frustrating, is that like if you're saving the cooldown for a good situation, then 100%, like there can be scenarios where maybe it was, whoa.
Okay, he's just going to flash away barely. And you see that very, very close on that one. So tempo flash indeed. They trade flashes eventually.
This is kind of how I expected the lane to go a little bit more so. I will say they are bearing the brunt pretty heavily. You don't typically get to see a Kai'Sa paired up with a range support who can harass this much, but yeah, I think especially given the fact that NONGSHIM were pretty low in the health bar department and Lehens had no flash, it's just limited threat. But yeah, here, it was a very short taunt in a flash, so maybe Diablo was just like not completely ready for it. It's like the quicker you flash in like the process, because you can taunt and then right at the end flash. Yeah. It's a lot harder to react to if you do it in that manner. We've seen a lot of abilities. You know, Vi is a good example of a champion where you use the flash to make it harder to react to hers. So Lehens obviously with pretty good mastery of this champion. But I think overall, given that we saw Jiwoo's flash be burned and be chunked out, lane is honestly positive for BNK FEARX. You know, you can see in terms of CS, they've really caught up. and they're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, Diablo's still a little bit behind on XP, but it doesn't look like that's going to be too big of a deal. It is a very small lead here for Jiwoo. They are going to go for the Drake. Just a Hex Tech Drake to start this one up. BNK are looking to come down.
Alex just hit 6. They can't fight this.
Yeah, and he gets here first as well. I mean, Vicla's not even moving. So, I mean, he's trying to hit 6, but it's too late. They already got the Drake, so... BNK take a long time just looking at them. They're going to land a root, but still no roam from Vicla, so not really overcommitting to this fight.
Yep. I mean, I think it's the right call not to contest it. Obviously, oh, they are still lucky. This is dangerous.
Yeah, about the right call. They're still going in. A lot of damage. You know, the root comes in. They're threatening it. They're trying to push the Pantheon off of this one. Calyx is coming in, and now the Spirit Rush used. They want a pick on a someone. That is a Xin Zhao. It's only level 5. The taunt follow-up is huge, but now we got Vicla with a 3-man knockup. Isn't enough damage. They're going to get one. The flash on in for Calyx blocks the W. That was insane. And now the follow-up comes in. Vicla super low. He's running away from a Kalista. That's never going to work. He goes down, and Kellen is the only one left. NONGSHIM, a big fight.
I just don't know why BNK FEARX are going for this. They weren't forced into this play. They just opted into a scenario where NONGSHIM were heavily favored. You know, even though Vicla now had his ultimate, the value of the Ahri ultimate in these early skirmishes far outstrips the Azir's ultimate. You can see, they're like, oh, well, they're low, but who is actually low? It's not Calyx, right? He's the most important person. He's not low on health. He lands his charm. The immediate follow-up's there. The ult doesn't actually get as much value as you'd think. And Diablo takes so much damage finishing off these targets. That flash from Calyx as well to block the Void Seeker. He did so much in this fight, and he keeps getting these resets. You know, it's Kalista, Ahri are the ones who are healthy. Of course they're going to carry that fight.
Yeah. It's kind of weird, you know, Calyx very much just ran straight at them and Spirit Rushed in their face, and it was very telegraphed, so maybe BNK are like, okay, we can handle this. We've put ourselves in the situation, and then he just kind of styled all over them.
It's like when Ahri started ulting, they were like, oh wait, this is actually bad. But it's like, the signs were there well before Calyx pressed the button. And again, I think the emphasis was really on NONGSHIM to get the ball rolling in this game. And BNK FEARX are the ones who have kind of given them this opportunity. Now, they are looking for a play here onto Jiwoo. Ult comes in. Yeah,
Jiwoo, no flash. He does have cleanse, so he's going to cleanse that root. And they say, well, we can't chase the Kalista in there.
Honestly, considering Jiwoo only burns cleanse, I mean, yes, BNK FEARX got a summoner, but if you think about the time invested, the setup, the fact they had 3 people there, the ult committed from clear as well, just cleanse doesn't feel that rewarding for the setup that went towards that play.
Yeah, absolutely. Spent a lot of time up there. Now, they are going to get onto these grubs. We do see that Gideon is nowhere near this. Meanwhile, Diablo is getting dove, and this is where Gideon was. He wanted to go for the dive onto the solo Kaisa, so you identified Diablo's the issue. You've already killed him 3 times. NONGSHIM, they have their sights set on this guy.
Yeah, and, you know, obviously grubs you're probably going to get anyway, given Gideon wasn't there, but which would I rather have, a cleanse and some grubs, or all this gold onto this Jace and shutting down this Kai'Sa as well? You know, King and getting play. Oh.
Yeah. Taunt comes in, clear. Surprisingly, Tanky's got plated steel caps already. The root comes down, but Fate's call comes in, and now Clear does have to flash away. A lot of fast and loose play, it feels like, in these lanes.
Yep.
And NONGSHIM are just winning, it feels like, almost every time.
I mean, yeah, they're finding these advantages. And, you know, especially between Shen and Pantheon, the setup these picks have. Like, we see so many times Kellen lands a root, and it's like, okay, well, I can't walk, but I'm still dealing damage. Whereas the taunt and the stun from Pantheon, so much impact. And we really haven't seen Raptor able to achieve much yet in this early game on this Xin Zhao.
Yeah. Definitely does feel like BNK, you know, they're a team, they're never going to back down from action and from fights, and I feel like that's actually hurting them a lot in this game, where it's like, you don't have to take all these fights. You could have just sat back. You know, the bottom lane I do understand where you do want to put the pressure on the Shen, but some of the other plays have been pretty rough in that regard, shot calling wise. And now NONGSHIM have a 2,000 gold lead before 10 minutes, which is gigantic. They only lost the grubs, but they have the Drake as well.
And one of the problems is how much gold Gideon has. He is the first person in the game to have completed first item, and it's his Sundered Sky. If you look at the meta in the jungle at the moment, so many champions are actually utilizing this and just the power it gives in skirmishes, because not only do you get extra beard damage, but you can proc it repeatedly in fights for that healing.
Flash comes in, the charm as well, and Vicla's is dead! It's enough damage, and Vicla had no chance. He didn't even have flash. Didn't see Lahen's coming, and Lahen's again makes a good flash taunt play.
And still has his ult, you know? I mean, there wasn't really any position for BNK FEARX to make a play somewhere else, but even if they had a window, you'd have to deal with the Shen ult on the back of that, so I feel like just so much value being gained from this Shen pick right now. But yeah, as I was saying about Gideon with this Sundered Sky, you compare that to Raptor just not having a completed item. Any fight where both junglers are there, NONGSHIM is just going to win.
Yeah, I mean, he's over 1,000 gold ahead, as is the mid lane. So, huge gold leads across the board.
나 도와줄 되고.
Oh, look for this.
Okay.
I can look for this taunts.
Yeah, and you see him flashing quite late in the taunt to get the full range on it, and able to catch Vic out before he can dash. Obviously, he doesn't have the flash himself. There's a great setup there, and Kingen is getting plates again on this Jace. Not a good omen.
So they're trying to cross map here, and Clear just essentially abandoning the lane.
Gideon's coming with ult.
Yeah, Gideon's coming over, and they back away already. So maybe looking to trade turrets at this point, but the Jace is just enjoying so much free gold.
They might push back in here, though.
Yeah, Lehens comes on over, just trying to survive, I guess. Not really sure. Very early, very broken up here from NONGSHIM. It's just 2 free kills given over to Diablo.
Yeah, and then a TP comes in top to defend the tower as well.
What was that?
Felt like a bit of overconfidence. You know, we talked a lot about the power of the Shen ult. Can't really use the Shen ult there in that situation. And also, Lehens and Jiwoo got so split up, you know? The Fate's call, I don't even think Lehens was in range for Jiwoo to use it. So just very questionable, I think, in that situation.
It looked like they were on 7 different pages here.
The thing is, the wave is still there, so they have ample opportunity to move in. And Jiwoo is trying to walk in range to ult him, but eventually realizes by trying to walk in range to ult him, he's just setting himself up to get ulted. It was very odd, and then Gideon ults, it just clears the wave, because like, well, this is cooked. Yeah, so for what was a huge advantage for NONGSHIM, squandered a little bit in this situation. Still very strong, still got some great spikes on their mid and jungle, but a needed injection of gold for BNK FEARX, who are quickly losing control of this game.
Really, the biggest issue, I think, is that Diablo got so much gold. Like, a double kill on this Kaisen outputs him almost 1,000 gold of his opponent. As now Vikla in a bit of trouble. Just going to sweep away the Shen. Nicely played. Gets ahead of it early. Still a nice group up here from NONGSHIM to get even more plates.
Yeah, they are really milking these plates right now and get a lot of value from them. And that's the thing, you know, BNK FEARX, they got those 3 grubs, but how much value do you actually have from the grubs if you're not getting towers, getting plates? And, you know, you look on the map, you can see, yes, they got 3 plates on the bot side, but none taken mid and top. It is really NONGSHIM have been managing to capitalize on those advantages. But still, a 2,000 gold lead, it's still comebackable from this point. I think it's a thing to say for BNK FEARX, but the game is in a volatile spot. And as the map starts to open up, as we see towers taken, this tower is obviously going to go down. That top tower, only 1 plate left on it for BNK FEARX, means the more open the map is, the more value the Shen ult has, the more value the Pantheon ult has.
They even deny CS on this turret. I mean, NONGSHIM, they made a big play on the bottom side. It was just not answered at all. We saw that Raptor was top lane, wasn't able to gank Gideon, who had flash and is still ahead. He eventually came down bot, but the turret's already gone. So just feels like NONGSHIM were ahead of the play, and there wasn't really a reaction here from BNK. And now we got a Shen on top of the Submarine Ahri, as Vikla not going to respect the brush. They might be able to trade a kill back on the Lehens. Maybe give this one over to Raptor, or even just Diablo again. No, they're not going to waste Diablo's time. He's got farming to do, and they'll just give that kill over to Raptor. So a little bit of a consolation prize.
Yeah.
Vikla, though, does go down for the 3rd time.
I think you're kind of okay with that if you're BNK FEARX. If you're trading 1-for-1 and Lehens is using his ultimate, that's kind of okay. I do like when teams use those ultimates more proactively rather than just defensively when you're playing the Shen, but unfortunately didn't have the exit plan needed to get away from that one.
The grub power getting to work. BNK finally going to pick up their first turret.
Picking up the flower, though.
Yeah. Misplay.
Yeah, a little bit of lost value there.
Yeah, we do have the feats of strength given over to NONGSHIM, by the way. They got the feats of warfare, and then they got that first turret down on bot.
A lot more value now with the cheaper boots. I think seeing more upgrades off them, just because, like, even though some of them got nerfed, the difference between like 750 gold and 500 gold is so much. There's times, especially if you're going into like an Adakan fight and you have 500 gold, it's a great investment. I feel. If you're not going to hit like a full item spike, and obviously you can't always plan around that.
It's better than a component you would get for like 435 gold or something, you know, or 450. So
yeah, and some of them, like it always depends as well. Like some champions sync with some better. I think especially when you're playing into a team which is heavy loaded. So for example, in this situation, if there's a lot of AP damage on the enemy team, which there really is because of the Rumble, the Azir, and the Kai'Sa, then the upgraded Merc Treads, that magic damage shield, has a ton of value.
Oh, I'm sure they're going to be getting at least one of those, if not more.
Cannon!
No! Yeah, I think that's it.
You know what?
I think it's over.
His equalizer's on cooldown. Would it have been? No, it would not have been with. Would it have been
It's a flash.
No, to equalizer for the cannon?
Yeah, no, I think for sure.
With Dragon up in a second and Herald up?
It's Chemtech Drake. I think the cannon's better. I'll take one cannon over one Chemtech Drake any day.
Valid.
At this point in the game, like if they were about to hit Soul Point or even Soul,
you're so cannon pilled.
Maybe then. I am very cannon pilled. I've been casting with Jonas Strong for a very long time.
You know who else is cannon minion pilled?
Jonas Strong?
Chovy.
That makes sense. He Chovies them all the time.
And you know what? They're not even fighting the dragon, so what does it matter?
Yeah. He'd have his ult back already. Rumble's OP. Well, he's just going to start up the Rift Herald here. There are about 3 wards that are all seeing this at the same time.
Yes, I think they're somewhat aware.
They know this is happening. They're just going to ult in, and they're going to try to turn on the Calyx, who is running away, but instead it's just Diablo left in a really rough spot, and the objective does go over. Now they're going to sweep on a Calyx, looking to get this kill, and they might just be able to. Charm comes in. BNK, eventually, they get the shutdown. That's a lot of gold over to Vikla, who does pick up the kill.
Yeah, a lot of gold going in. I mean, Diablo nearly got blown up immediately in that play. And fortunately, Vikla's going to be in position to be able to defend this tower. But that Rift Child being secured means this tower likely going to go down soon.
That's fine. He looked for it.
Yeah.
He knew people were backing.
They will be able to take this mid-tier 1. Not much can be done. Can BNK FEARX find a fight afterwards, though? That is the question. They look to be...
Lahens? Okay.
That is a very Lahens move.
All plans. He might actually get chased down here. You can see that they are looking to poke him down. Lahens barely surviving after whatever that was.
Yeah, no summoners on Raptor, Vikla, Diablo, or Kellen. So, Lahens is really testing limits. I was going to say no summoners, so going in there on a Lahens, probably not the right move, but did threaten him a little bit there at least. And so I think NONGSHIM, you know, they gave over a lot of the gold that was on Calyx, but they do get that mid-tier 1 thanks to the Herald. Goldie's still about 2,000. Definitely not enough to sort of write off BNK FEARX, but still positive. We'll see the play coming out. Look at Diablo's health. He's full, and like he cleanses pretty immediately. And look how much health he loses. And from a Shen and a Pantheon, you know, it's a support Shen. This Pantheon just with so much burst. If he hesitated, he might have just died. And they do manage to turn onto the Ahri. I feel like going on the Ahri is always risky because she's so mobile. If you commit onto and chase it, she gets away, it feels bad. But Calyx didn't really have anywhere good to go to. And so they get that influx of gold. But no summoners on a lot of people on BNK FEARX does make things scary, especially with Arakan coming up in a minute. I think NONGSHIM could maybe set up a play around it, set up a trap around it, and bank on not only the fact they obviously have a bit of gold lead, but there's lack of summoners.
Yeah. Especially for the 80 carry difference in summoners. You know, Ju can play very aggressive. He's got a Shen to back him up. He's got his own flash and cleanse, whereas Diablo has nothing. So I feel like they should set it up, especially with just having Kalista on your team and this gold lead. So are they going to do it is really the question.
The thing is, with Arakan being on the bot side of the map and Dragon being in 2 minutes, you lose nothing for setting up for it. You know, if you don't find an angle to do Arakan or threaten BNK FEARX...
Missed the cannon, by the way.
I'm going to choose to ignore that. Because you're setting up on that side of the map anyway, even if nothing comes from it, you still have that same setup for Dragon. So control that side of the map absolutely going to be what NONGSHIM want to do. And then if you see an angle to get a kill or to get Arakan, that's just a bonus.
Yeah, and meanwhile, while they're setting up for this, we do have Kingen pushing the top lane. Finally, Clear is going to match it, but might be able to get some big shots into this turret. So, I mean, a decent amount of control on the bottom side of the map, but also it just feels like NONGSHIM aren't trying to start this immediately. They did, as I was saying, that ping the Otacon, though, so feeling a little bit confused about exactly how they want to tackle this. Top laners do have TP, so you know, you could just look to continue the push on the top side and just push in here with 4 and try to get vision.
I think setting a trap with the vision, really good. If you force someone from BNK FEARX to phase check, eventually someone's going to walk into a Shen and a Pantheon. You can see here the river is just completely dark for the side of BNK FEARX. Even pushing beyond like that red buff line, very difficult at this point. They have that one control ward. They get no ward in there, but it's been spotted. So you can see Lehens just gets the recall off. He's going to base and we'll pick up some more wards. And this trap is just going to keep getting, you know, more and more vision cleared out, more and more vision consolidated until NONGSHIM have just completely found a way to choke out BNK FEARX. The dragon is approaching in about 30 seconds though. But again, like I said, you know, they're setting up on the safe side of the map. If you take the dragon, that's fine too. And if you force BNK FEARX to walk in, then potentially you can get an Atakan off of one fight.
Yeah, you do see NONGSHIM are trying to get some deep vision here, and Raptor is essentially just saying no. Now he's going to go in. He's taking a ton of damage, and now the follow-up comes in. Finally, he gets his ult off, though, at the very last moment. Raptor also gets the kill. He's kind of not a person at this moment. He's so low, so it's not like they can turn this into an objective, but still a one fight for BNK. NONGSHIM immediately going to start this up. They still have the Shen ult.
Yeah, so Lehens, he's only 15 seconds away. He'll definitely be here in time for this fight. They're going to start on this dragon. It's just gone. It's already gone. A great read from NONGSHIM to have the confidence to go for that. And now, BNK FEARX hesitantly positioning around the Atakan. I say hesitantly in a hopeful way.
Positioning, not actually doing it.
Please, not the time. It looks like NONGSHIM potentially going to start it up, but I think just prodding and poking.
Look at King, and he's going pretty deep behind them, but now gonna get the flash out of Calyx. Vikla holding onto his ult smartly. And now Lehens taking a ton of damage. He just got here. He just ulted in, and now he's dead. Again, a very broken up play, I think, from NONGSHIM. They're not really all on the same page.
Yeah, that first death, not a big issue, right? Lehens can ult back. That second one, a lot more of an issue. This Atakan gonna get secured.
Yeah, I mean, Gideon's not here. Now he's gonna ult in, and maybe they win the fight, but no, Raptor stays alive once again. And a kill did go over to Diablo as well. They don't have their Kalista. Calyx still pretty scary, as is Gideon, though. Big equalizer onto that Pantheon, and now clear! Looking to clean up this fight. It might just be able to do so. Still on the chase, but they say, hey, we got the objective. We got a couple of kills as well. Let's just back away and take our wins.
Ooh, man, Kellen.
Yeah, still playing with their food here, and I think NONGSHIM are going to pay for it. Not sure about this one. Trying to stop the backs. They get punished. Just another kill on the board.
It's one of these situations where, you know, you lose the objective, you want to get something from it, and you just end up giving over more in this situation. As I said, this first death for the Shen isn't a major issue. NONGSHIM can play around it with the Shen ult. The ult is very late from Raptor here. Quite nearly dies, but gets the healing.
21.
Yeah, from Triumph and from Sundered Sky, keeps him alive. But then this play, you know, the ult comes out on a Kingen. Kellen misses his root, otherwise Kingen might have just died earlier. But they're not really in a position with Jiwoo. Look how far away he is from the fight. This Kalista just not even there. And then here they try and make something out of this. They're like, okay, they're low. But because they did the Atakan so fast, they didn't actually do that much damage to them. They get this charm on a Vikla. The follow-up is there from Gideon, but Raptor survives again, fortunately. But it's clear the fact he has his ultimate makes such a big difference in this fight. I don't think they factored the Rumble having the equalizer available again.
I think pretty clearly they did not. And, you know, Vikla dies with ult, flash up. I think, you know, kind of unfortunate, but also he's not really the most fed member on the BNK team. So they used a lot to go deep for the Azir, and then they got themselves in this weird spot trying to force the fight afterwards, and it just did not work out. As we have a pause.
I mean, the two of the issues that can happen.
Yeah, you know, you begin to lose confidence in your team, and now Lehens kind of out here by himself once again. At least Jiwoo is there this time. And they are going to use that Fate's Call just for a Nico route, which doesn't feel good, but at least he's there. At least Lehens doesn't die for free for nothing this time.
This is the thing. Oh, connect. But they're still looking, are they?
I mean, it is Ahri.
Oh, he has a knock-up stacked up. He stacked it up on the ward, was going to look for the knock-up there, doesn't find it. And then that would obviously set up Jiwoo.
They're still hounding this Ahri down. I mean, Shen will come in eventually. The root comes in, though, and now Calyx in a bit of trouble. But it's a trade of ults, and it's a maneuver by BNK. to come up here and take the turret down.
Yeah, forces him back in. No ult for Lahen's available there, so had to kind of disengage from the situation. We'll see Kingen getting some value, but TP's going to come in to respond to that, so he won't be able to take that tower. But yeah, you know, the tools like the Fate's Call, the Stand United, the Grand Starfall, is that what it's called? The ult for Pantheon? I think so.
So they changed it at some point. I think it might just be Starfall?
I don't know.
Or
whatever.
Grand
Anyway,
Starfall.
those three ultimates, they always feel better when you're using them proactively. You're making plays with them rather than, oh, we stopped them from killing us. Never feels that ideal.
Yeah. Oh, we just barely got away as I used my ultimate. Yeah.
And that's kind of the position. You can see just how much it's flowed in favor of BNK FEARX now, and how much more confident they feel. And if they're burning these resources consistently, it's not going to feel good. Now, setting up some vision around the Baron area. It is Dragon in a minute 20. It would be sold for NONGSHIM. Their composition's pretty squishy, though. Like, how valuable is a Hex?
Yeah, so Calyx is just going to get rooted here. Has to use Spirit Rush again.
Yeah, and with him being about half HP, no TP, and no ult, I think it's a good signal to start this. At minimum, you force the TP from Kingen.
Yeah, that's what you should be looking for. Another control ward in the pit, going to be cleared out. Kellen on the left side, ready for his engage. His ult just comes up right now. Charm, though, onto Raptor, and now their jungler's taken away. They have to go for the fight to BNK. It's not getting low enough, and that's a couple of kills, and they don't even need the smite. As Blanches come in, barely clipping Kingen with that ultimate, but Diablo, ooh, just barely saved by Kellen. And that should be enough. Jiu also being hounded down here. Should eventually just burn. There it is. Really takes out clear. Kind of a close fight, all things considered, but still BNK come out ahead big time.
Little scrappy there, and Raptor making a pretty big mistake, but the rest of the team held strong so well here. Gotta give credit to BNK FEARX not panicking. This is a situation that very quickly could have got out of control. The Charm connects, doesn't have time to ult, blown up, but the equalizer from Clear is fantastic. And the follow-up, the patience, making sure they're focused on a single target, not AoEing the Baron to give him a slight chance in this. Kellen with the redirect, turning to the side to ult Kingen. Lands the root as well to save his AD carry. And here, pretty close, but the burning comes through from Clear. Clear, you know, we talked about this Rumble Jace matchup, how it's a bit more of a contentious one. And you have to have confidence in your top laner to like give over the Jace and take the Rumble.
Yeah.
Confidence has been so well placed for Clear. Even though Kingen does have a goal lead, he's been getting a lot of value in the side lane. Clear has been a monster in these team fights.
Yeah, he's been huge. I mean, his Rumble is pretty much the first champion that I really enjoyed from this player when he first came in LCK, and he had a bit of a slump, but he's back. It really does feel like his Rumble deserves the respect that he's getting. As now Fate's Call. By the way, Lahen's was the one waiting on the bush, waiting for the play. And now he's the one that has to be saved once again. Diablo in a bit of trouble, but he's got Cleanse, and he does get away. Kellen getting low as well. A ton of damage coming out from Kingen, but again, they're just not finishing off the targets, and Diablo's just able to go ham in this fight. Has a triple kill. Good look for the Penta, but it doesn't look like NONGSHIM want to give that over.
At this point, they have to commit so much, and sure, they get Diablo's summoners, but they're not in a position to capitalize on that. The game is looking to be ended right now with that Baron push coming in. It's Calyx and Jiwoo to try and save it, but it might be a tall task.
It is crazy that NONGSHIM, they were holding on to the lead for so long, and now it just looks like BNK were winning the whole time in this game. Jiwoo in a lot of trouble. He's going to go down, nuked by Diablo, who's got 10 kills in this game. And, I mean, there's nothing much that Calyx can do alone.
Just used Equalizer. He has it again.
Yeah, that's Rumble. He's level 17 now. And Lahen's trying to buy some time. You see Calyx is just backing up on the top side. The game is over, guys, as just a couple of extra kills are given over. There's the Nexus. BNK take the first game.
And